What really happened behind the scenes of the most talked about wedding of 2025? Was it all picture perfect, or were there unexpected twists no one saw coming? Yulong and Yang Mei's exclusive wedding event captured the world's attention. But beyond the beautiful gowns and flawless smiles lies a story waiting to be uncovered. Join Red Carpet Revealed as we take you behind the curtains of this unforgettable day. The truth, the glamour, the drama, it all starts now. What do you get when the East's most beloved screen icon and the global fashion muse of a generation say I do beneath the golden Balinese sky? You get a wedding so spectacular, it stops time. Held at the ultra-exclusive Ayana Villas Resort overlooking the majestic cliffs of Uluwatu, Bali, the union of Yulong and Yang Mei wasn't just a celebration of love. It was a cultural phenomenon broadcast live to over 72 million viewers across platforms. And we were there. Every step, every whisper, every shimmering moment. When the platinum gilded invitations began arriving at the doorsteps of international celebrities, diplomats, designers, and royalty, the world knew something extraordinary was coming. Gold leaf silk envelopes bore the monogram YY, two interwoven dragons, symbolizing eternal love, crafted by Mei Mei's longtime collaborator, calligrapher Li Xingxuan. Inside? A hand-stitched passport to paradise, 7 days in Bali culminating in the wedding of a century. You and Mei Mei don't just plan events, said stylist Gianni Dupont. They curate experiences. This wedding was always going to be art. The location? A cliffside sanctuary so remote that guests arrived by private seaplane, greeted with silk parasols and rose petal cocktails. The entire Ayana Villas resort was closed to the public for 10 days. Rumors suggest the couple paid over $18 million to secure exclusivity, fly in hundreds of staff, and build temporary structures, including a floating crystal walkway and a mirror glass altar facing the Indian Ocean. Each villa was transformed into a fantasy space. One had walls of living orchids. There mimicked a floating cloud chamber. We wanted the atmosphere to feel surreal, said Mei Mei in a rare interview 2 days before the wedding. Like you've stepped into the dream we've shared for years. Their story is the stuff of cinema. Yulong, the stoic martial arts actor turned Oscar-nominated director. Yang Mei, the engineer turned global ambassador for Dior, and UNESCO. They met 5 years ago during a shoot in Iceland for an experimental film that was never released, but their chemistry became legend. A snowstorm, a shared cabin, a broken generator, 1 cup of oolong tea, was all it took. From red carpets in Kanti quiet monastery stays in Lhasa, the two defied the paparazzi at every turn. Their love, said Hong Kong producer Lin Chi, is fierce, private, but undeniable. A constellation in motion. With 2 days to go, guests from around the globe began arriving. Among them, Crown Princess Aiko of Japan, film legend Isabelle Deneuve, Meta CEO Eva Zhu, K-pop icon Jiwoo, rumored former flame of Yulong, architect Tadao Ando, who designed the ceremonial platform. Fashion watchers gasped when supermodel Coco Fala stepped out in a gold-lamed kimono with solar embroidery, rumored to be a preview of Mei Mei's wedding palette. Meanwhile, drone footage showed teams building something enormous offshore, a floating structure half-dome, half-lotus. The bride and groom remained unseen. Speculation surged. Would Yulong arrive by helicopter? Would Mei Mei wear McQueen, Givenchy, or her rumored custom gown by Iris Van Herpen, as rehearsals unfolded in guarded privacy? Rumors leaked that a monsoon storm was predicted for the weekend. The ceremony team, led by Japanese master event planner Rika Watanabe, was said to be coordinating Plan B through Z. Meanwhile, a surprise happened the night before the wedding. Yulong and Yang Mei were spotted, briefly, walking barefoot on the shoreline at 3 a.m., hand in hand, surrounded by paper lanterns released into the ocean. They were laughing, said a local villager who caught a glimpse. Not worried about the storm. Just in love. Dawn broke with clear skies. At 6 a.m., 127 monks arrived at the cliffside temple above the resort, chanting blessings for 8 hours. Guests were asked to wear all white. At precisely 3:45 p.m., the first chimes of a custom-made crystal gong echoed through the valley. And then the broadcast began. Exactly 4 p.m., With the sun suspended above the shimmering Indian Ocean, the air shifted across Uluwatu. A hush rippled through the 220 invited guests, filmmakers, designers, cultural icons, and the select few family members, gathered on mirrored chairs arranged in a perfect spiral formation around a crystal altar. No aisles, no stage. Just sky, water, and the illusion of floating. Suddenly, a low hum began to rise, 12 traditional Balinese gongs in unison, followed by the faint breath of a bamboo flute. Then, without announcement, without flourish, Yulong stepped forward. Dressed in a ash gray ceremonial robe designed by Tom Ford in collaboration with a Kyoto textile master, he carried no bouquet, no ring box, only a single white lily in hand. He walked alone down a glass path that shimmered against the ocean backdrop. He looked straight ahead, unblinking. Calm. Magnetic, was the walk of a man not stepping into a ceremony, but toward destiny. And then she appeared. From behind a curtain of living jasmine vines, Yang Mei Mei emerged like something drawn from folklore. Her gown, 7 meters of translucent silk woven with freshwater pearls, floated behind her like fog. Design over 8 months by Iris van Herpen and a collective of Tibetan artisans, the dress reflected the movement of water and light. Her veil was held aloft not by pins or combs, by an unseen wire structure that gave the illusion it hovered above her like a halo. But it wasn't the dress, wasn't even the entrance. It was her expression, half smile, half tears, that stunned the crowd into silence. Cameras zoomed in, yet no microphone picked up what she whispered as she stepped forward. He waited for me even before I knew I was lost. When they met at the center of the spiral, bowed, not once, but 3 times, to each other, to their guests, into the land that held them. There were no officiants, no priest, no speeches. Just a shared vow, spoken simultaneously in Mandarin and English. I will meet you in every life. I will choose you every time. The ceremony was just 21 minutes long. Then came the release. The sea, a gentle rise of mist erupted from hidden vents beneath the platform, while overhead, 888 hand-folded paper cranes floated down from hidden drones, each one carrying a written wish from villagers, family, friends, and crew. Applause was soft at first, reverent. Some guests cried, others smiled without words. A few, especially those who had known Yulong during his more reclusive, emotionally guarded years, simply nodded, eyes damp. The reception began just as dusk kissed the edge of the horizon. Guests were led through a moonlit garden walk to a hidden amphitheater carved directly into the cliffside, transformed for one night into an open-air banquet lit entirely by candlelight and bioluminescent arrangements engineered by a Singaporean artist collective. The food was curated by 7 chefs across Asia, including a Kaizuki master from Kyoto, Michelin-starred Indian fusion chef from Mumbai, street food collective from Chengdu. Every dish told a story from the couple's travels: laksa from their first trip to Singapore, pine smoked lamb from Iceland, an almond blossom dessert inspired by the Van Gogh painting Mei Mei once wept in front of. But it wasn't the food that stole the night, it was the speeches. The first came from Yulong's mentor, legendary actor Zhang Wei, who recalled the first day you met Mei Mei. He walked onto the set with frost in his hair and fire in his chest. After she smiled at him, the frost melted. The fire stayed. Mei's longtime friend and stylist, Anya Cohen, stood next. Could have married a prince, a poet, or a billionaire. But she chose the man who listens, who pauses, who sees. Then came the moment no one expected. Yulong stood up, lifted his glass, and in the first public speech of his personal life ever recorded, said simply, "She is not the one who completes me, she is the one who allows me to remain whole." The kiss that followed was unhurried, long, electric. The crowd rose, and the night was far from over. At 10 p.m., an unexpected procession of Balinese dancers emerged carrying illuminated parasols. Each dancer represented a year in the couple's love story. Then, from behind the cliffs, a surprise guest took the stage, Lang Lang, world-famous pianist and friend of the couple, who played an original composition titled Between Wind and Water. The audience fell into silence once again. There was no DJ. No playlist. Only music created live in the moment, ancient instruments, soft vocals, rainfall recorded in Tibet. Even a lullaby Mei Mei's mother used to sing, remixed into ambient textures. As midnight approached, guests were handed small hand-carved boxes, each containing a personal letter written by the bride and groom over the past year. Every letter unique, some funny, some confessional. One guest reportedly received an apology for a comment made in 2019 about a poorly chosen dress. Another found a quote from Rilke. One box simply read, "Thank you for seeing us when we weren't looking." At 12:15 a.m., the couple disappeared. No grand send-off. No fireworks show. Just a rumor that they took a small wooden boat across the bay to a hidden cottage prepared days earlier. By sunrise, most guests were still awake, wrapped in soft blankets around fire pits, sharing stories, unbothered by time. For once, in the age of spectacle and social media excess, the world agreed, this wedding wasn't about showing off. It was about presence. Stillness. A kind of radical, unfiltered love. And although the cameras had been rolling, and the footage broadcast across 3 continents, the most powerful moments, those between glances, those hidden smiles, somehow remained private. Miracle in itself. Back in the city, commentators called it a ceremony that redefined luxury. Others said it raised the bar on global weddings forever. The bride and groom. It was never about spectacle. As Mei Mei wrote in her private journal, later shared online, "We didn't want a wedding that impressed people. We wanted a moment that reminded them what it means to choose love, loudly, gently, and without regret." And so